The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight.
He served the United States with honor and distinction.
He would be Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, traded for 5 terrorists over the weekend. But there's compelling evidence the sergeant is a deserter and maybe a collaborator. So why is Ambassador Rice misleading the world yet again? We will have a Factor investigation.
He should be tried as a deserter and court-martialed. I would personally like to see him in Leavenworth through the remainder of his days.
Some of Sergeant Bergdahl's fellow soldiers are bitter about his alleged desertion. And at least 6 Americans were killed searching for him. Tonight, we'll talk with the parents of one soldier who lost his life.
They get $500 million a year to operate this nut house, and they're an absolute disgrace.
Also ahead, another possible VA scandal, this one in Memphis, where more than $1 million was paid to executives in bonuses, but a rehab pool for the vets closed down for lack of funds. Is it legal? On the case.
Caution, you are about to enter the no spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. More trouble for the Obama administration because of the Taliban negotiation. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. There is growing anger in America over President Obama's swapping 5 Taliban war criminals for Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, who may have deserted his unit in Afghanistan before being captured by the Taliban in 2009. There is compelling evidence that the sergeant violated military law and may have even collaborated with the enemy. However, top Obama security advisor Susan Rice is saying this about Bergdahl.
He's going to be safely reunited with his family. He served the United States with honor and distinction.
Another very dubious statement by Ambassador Rice, whom you'll remember is the person who misled the world about Benghazi. But that's the administration's take, that Sergeant Bergdahl is an honorable man.
Sergeant Bergdahl put on the uniform of the United States voluntarily and went to war for the United States voluntarily. That takes honor, and it is a mark of distinction.
President Obama himself a bit more cautious.
Regardless of the circumstances, whatever those circumstances may turn out to be, we still get an American soldier back if he's held in captivity. Period. Full stop.
But nobody is stopping, Mr. President. The controversy is growing, and your administration is again on the defensive. The president is currently in Europe. Perhaps he can hear the anger over here. It's that loud. Nevertheless, his guys continue to protect him.
The narrative is, let's take this guy, this soldier that we got home, diminish him, turn him into some kind of a caricature. We don't know if he's a traitor, say negative things about him, insult his family, and then take the 5 that we're releasing, build them up into this mega threat against us, and then say that the President of the United States is a traitor who turned in a traitor to let out our enemies. Is that the kind of Benghaziization of this that you think is appropriate for Republicans?
Politics aside, the release of the 5 Taliban war criminals sets a troubling precedent and is almost indefensible in the face of Sergeant Bergdahl's status. 5 years ago, when the sergeant first left his unit, Fox News strategic analyst Colonel Ralph Peters said this.
My anger is that the media has been turning this guy who's an alleged deserter, certainly AWOL in a combat zone, into some kind of hero. Now, why does it make me angry? Because we know Bergdahl's name. How many of us know the names of the soldiers, Marines, Navy corpsmen fighting through crippling injuries in our military hospitals?
And it gets worse. At least 6 U.S. soldiers were killed searching for Sergeant Bergdahl, creating deep resentment in the military. Listen to some soldiers who served with Bergdahl.
He did not serve the United States with honor. We all took an oath. He violated his oath when he deserted us and put other Americans in jeopardy.
Any of us would have died for him while he was with us, and then for him to just leave us like that, it was a very big betrayal. If you had asked me 3 days ago, I would have said firing squad, but I've had some time to think about it, some time to get a little less emotional and kind of detach myself that way, and I think that he should be tried as a deserter and court-martialed. I would personally like to see him in Leavenworth through the remainder of his days.
So this is one big mess, and once again, the Obama administration has brought it upon itself. These Taliban killers are not soldiers. According to the UN in 2013 alone, 74% of all civilian casualties in Afghanistan were caused by the Taliban and al-Qaeda. At least 2,300 civilians were killed, more than 4,000 injured. Multiply that by 13 years, and you have the level of atrocity the Taliban has committed. This is not a prisoner of war exchange. This is a political move, and it is backfiring on the president, no question about it. So then the question becomes, what is going on inside the Oval Office? Why are so many mistakes being made? Big mistakes. The VA scandal that broke wide last week was an acute embarrassment for the administration. And now, just a few days later, we have this. It's almost beyond belief that an administration could be this dense. So last night I talked with someone who knows the inside story of the Obama White House. I have to keep the person's identity secret, but he told me that the president has come to the conclusion that his administration is not going to accomplish its goals. He knows the economy is not going to turn around. He knows Obamacare is not going to be popular, and he understands that his job approval rating will likely remain below 50%. Therefore, according to this guy, the president has concluded that public opinion really doesn't matter anymore. Thus, Mr. Obama is going to do what he wants to do, and the consequences be damned. I believe that assessment is accurate. Just think about it. Why would you swap one alleged deserter, because surely President Obama knows the guy left his unit voluntarily, for five notorious war criminals? Why would anyone do that? It simply doesn't make sense, because these Taliban guys will go back to killing people. The war on terror remains in progress, and thousands of people are dying all over the world. Even ardent pro-Obama supporters have got to be confused. Yes, the zealots will always support Mr. Obama, no matter what he does. But if you are a thinking person, all the chaos in Washington is embarrassing, and the explanations just plain incredible. Susan Rice saying to the world that Sergeant Bergdahl served his country with honor? Are you kidding me? And that's on top of the Benghazi stuff? Is Ambassador Rice a moron? Why would she say that when all the facts point to the opposite? Especially when she herself got hammered over the Benghazi deception. Again, what is wrong with these people? Talking Points cannot answer that question. It's beyond comprehension. And the White House press corps better start asking about Ms. Rice and the other crazy stuff over and over again. One final thing. President Obama knows that at least half of the American public is totally disengaged from political reality. They don't know anything, and they don't care to know. Many live in a high-tech bubble, lost in cyberspace, caught up in their own selfish pursuits. Therefore, he knows, the president does, that he can razzle-dazzle, make speeches, and survive. That's a big change in this country, when you have half of the folks not caring a whit about what our leadership does. Apathy breeds corruption and incompetence, does it not? And that's the memo. Next on the Rundown, reaction from Bob Woodward, Charles Krauthammer, Kirsten Powers, and Monica Crowley. The Factor will be right back.